we are a team that works towards helping you come to reside and to invest in Portugal. I will try to give you my outlook as an architect. So I will give you some examples of projects that I already did. And I'll also try to explain a bit how my profession works, architecture, engineering, how the construction also works, and also give you an overview of the legislation and of the market as it is now and as it will be in the future. So I would like to start off by explaining the way we work here in Portugal, which is a bit different from the way you work, for example, in the US. So we work in phases, and we have basically a project phase we have a draft project and a licensing project that we submit to the city hall, and that process is divided in between the architecture part and the engineering part, and we have to submit and wait for the analysis and approval. When we have this approval, we can start construction, which is the construction phase, which can take in between, I don't know, 6 months, 10 months, 12 months. It depends on the size of the construction, obviously. But at the end of this process, we have a very important part of it, which is the license of usage, which means that we have to resubmit everything to the city hall regarding the as-built drawings, the certification of the electrical networks, the telecommunication networks, water, sewage, etc. And it's at that point that you will have a license to use your house, to rent it out, or to resell it, if that's the case. This process has been simplified. I will get back to this point again lately, but it's still a lengthy process, although it was simplified very recently in March. So I will try to showcase you projects that we have made, that I selected, and that are more or less on trend with what's happening in our market. So we finished recently a project of a co-living building with a German-Italian company that actually is investing a lot in Portugal, and they have invested in co-living spaces, which means that we transformed a normal residential building into a co-living space, which is not very common here in Lisbon and in Portugal, and where each room of a flat was converted into a room, and so people will live in the upper floors, and they have a common area on the ground floor, which used to be a coffee shop or a coffee house. So this is a new type of product in the market, or newish type of product in the market. And it has a lot of people looking for it, because there are a lot of students that need this type of housing, but also people that are doing a master's or something that they just stay for 6 months or 12 months. So this is a product that's starting to pop up in Portugal. This is another type of commercial or services that we are doing, which is the co-work. So we see this a lot, for example, in the US, but here it's fairly recent, and we are remodeling, refurbishing this old palace in the center of Lisbon with a Brazilian investor that we are doing step by step. We are transforming it into a co-work area where you have multiple rooms. Some of them are open spaces where a lot of people work. Some of them are individual. Then you have common spaces, an atrium, and then an area for exhibitions and for conferences, etc. So this is also in the terms of services. This is also something that is starting to appear a lot here in Lisbon, Portugal. So these are more classical projects that we did. So this is a complete refurbishment of a really historical building located in the city hall, in the center of Lisbon, the historical center of Lisbon. And so we remodeled all of this building, and we did 8 luxury serviced apartments for a Portuguese Brazilian investor. And so their goal was to remodel, refurbish all the apartments, make them high-end for touristical leasing. And the shops underneath, one is a restaurant and one is a bar, and they can you can have room service, but they also sell and work for the city itself. So this was an investment for the tourism in Lisbon, and it's a whole building in the historical parts of Lisbon. This is another type of investment that we did with American investor, actually, that bought a building that was being renovated and was stopped midway. And we did sort of, it was linked to the Golden Visa, which has ended and now supposedly will restart. And we did 12 studios, and they were connected to the Golden Visa. So you would buy the property and get a Golden Visa, but then you could rent it out, and it was connected to an agency that was renting out the units. So it was a win-win scenario. So these were 12 studios next to the Avenida de Liberdade, which are also linked to the Golden Visa and to the Airbnb renting, for example. This is another type of investment that we did with a French investor in Lisbon, which he bought the building, as you can see here, and we rebuilt the whole building. Actually, we just kept the facade and we redid the whole interior. And we made 8 apartments. So they're apartments for housing, normal housing. And they do have something very uncommon in Lisbon, which is parking. So they have parking in the garage underneath. And they're quite well located, and they were sold quite quickly because there weren't, they had a good price, and there weren't a lot of products like this one. And so this is real estate resale, very classical resale, but made with a French investor. This is another one that we did with another French investor in Campo de Rico, which is a bit up on the hills of Lisbon, and so it's close to the French high school. And we did 6 apartments with them, and so we rebuilt this whole building, and they were sold. Each apartment was sold quite quickly, actually, because they all have they're not that big, but they all have either a garden or a balcony, so they're quite nice and they have a nice view, and in a very traditional and nice neighborhood. So this is also real estate resale, just classical. They bought property as it was, we rebuilt it, and then they resold all the apartments. This is an example of a smaller scale investment that we did with a French investor that was buying small apartments around this historical center of Lisbon. And so we remodeled this apartment, and the owner, the French investor, has been selling these apartments or reselling these apartments after refurbishment. So there's another type of investment in real estate, but with a much smaller scale. We have been seeing a lot of interest, as David was saying. For example, in the up from Lisbon, we have the Silver Coast, and this is well, not particularly located in Silver Coast, but it's around the city of Lisbon, around 30 to 40 minutes from Lisbon. It has trains, it has nice highways, and so some of these investors that we have worked previously in Lisbon, they are looking for properties around Lisbon, so all around all of these cities that are satellite cities to Lisbon, that are well connected, where people can go and live, but they can still work or come to Lisbon very often. And the properties are obviously the price is lower. And so we are working in Santarém, which is a very beautiful and has a lot of historical monuments, especially from the Gothic area. And so we are finishing the remodeling of this building for the French investor that we did another project in Lisbon, and is starting selling these properties. So we have made 6 apartments from this whole building that he's now starting to resell. Another city that we have been working on is Alcácer do Sal, which is actually now we're going to the south of Lisbon. So further away than Setúbal, you have Alcácer do Sal, which is a beautiful little town, like 40 minutes, 50 minutes away from Lisbon. It used to have train, but now it doesn't work there, but there's a highway, so you can get there very fast. And this is an old industrial building, sorry, that we are converting into housing. So the idea is to have multiple apartments. So we have around 9 apartments. Some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller, some of them have duplexes, and we also have some courtyards in between. And the idea of the promoter is also to work with the golden visas. So they have already started reselling the apartments. So this is real estate sale, but more towards the south of Lisbon. And then this is another type of investment that we have seen, and this is another project that we are doing, which is a house in Comporta, which is a very trendy and very nice area, actually, which is next to, then you have Setúbal and then Troia, and then all of the beach coast that goes from almost Setúbal to the Algarve. So we have multiple beaches, consecutively. They are quite nice, and Comporta is a very trendy one. And we have been doing this house for a French couple that want a summer holiday home, but they also want a home that they can rent out and get some money back from the initial investment. So it's a smaller investment from a couple that just wants to have a holiday home, but at the same time get some money back from their investment. So as I said in the beginning, I would like to give you also an outlook of what's installed in the future. So we just had elections recently, and things are going to change a bit because the government has changed. And so we have a lot of opportunities coming up, and some of them also are linked to the Golden Visa and to the Alojamento Local, which is AL legislation, which is basically Airbnb. So this government is working on going back to and reinstalling the legislation that was stopped previously by the previous government. So in principle, they will bring back the Golden Visa. They will free up licenses for the Airbnb, they were blocked for a long time. So they want to bring back a lot of the investment that was being previously made in the tourism area, in the real estate area, and also in the construction and architecture area. So they have been discussing multiple also options, which are very attractive to the possible investors, which are, for example, the reduced VAT rate from 23% to 6%, for example, in the projects, architecture and engineering. So in our services, maybe we can in the future have a lower VAT rate. Also reduce the VAT rate for the new construction. At the moment, only the rehabilitation or refurbishment of buildings has a reduced VAT rate of 6% versus a 23% for all the construction. And there's an ongoing, and this started a bit before. So there's an ongoing, a very big ongoing simplification of the complete process of licensing and certification, final certification of the buildings. So the idea is that all the city halls will be digital. And so things will move along a lot quicker and smoother. And so this is an ongoing process. It has started a bit like almost half a year ago and was completely implemented this year in March. And we are still, the city halls are still, starting to change their procedures, put in place all the platforms that they need. But it's very important for us as architects, but for you as clients also, because things will be a lot simpler and smoother in terms of the architecture project, the engineering project. All the analysis will be a lot quicker. And then also at the end, after we finish all the construction, the process of having a license of usage is very much simplified. So the investment time will be reduced. So obviously for you as an investor, that's quite important. So this is more or less the overview that I wanted to give you. So now if you have any questions.
Miguel.
Yeah.
Yes, there is one question which arrived while we were talking. So David is asking regarding the simplification of dealing with the architectural approval process. does this extend to the local municipalities?
Yes. Yes, David. So as I was saying, the simplification of the whole process, it links a lot of entities. So it's obviously the architects, the engineers, such as myself, and then all the city halls and all the entities that are now linked to the licensing permits, which can be the city hall, the parish, or the all the entities for the heritage department, the certification of electricity, water, sewage, etc. All those entities, they are obliged to simplify their processes. So as you were asking, so all of these entities have to work together to simplify and to make things go faster. It's not fully implemented yet, but it's an ongoing process, and we hope that it will start, to give fruits and to start to go faster. So the principle, the basic principle that they thought was, we submit everything to the city hall as we did before. So the drawings and the written documents and terms of responsibility, all of that. So we have to submit them. They will only analyze if they are theirs, if all the documents are correct and they are there. They will not go into, they won't look into the drawings, and they won't look into the architecture itself. What they will do, though, is during construction, they can visit the construction site and ask for corrections, or so their analysis is further on, and it's more on site. So it's not really, it's not a long analysis, at the office. So the process will be a lot quicker.
Okay, he's asking, yes, what is the typical cost per square meter of a total renovation?
Okay. So
I know it's a difficult question, but if you can give an estimate, it's a difficult question.
It depends quite a lot of where it is, and for example, I will give you an example. For example, in Lisbon, the city is the center of the city is quite old, and the streets are narrow, and you have to go up a hill and down a hill. So obviously, you have to take into account that if you have a very difficult to access building, the costs can be higher, for example, even though it's inside the city of Lisbon. But from experience, I would say that outside of like the big cities like Lisbon and even Setúbal and Faro and Porto, I think the price more or less has been around 1,200 euros per square meters. It also obviously depends on the type of equipment that you want to install. If you install air conditioning, imagine that you are doing a lift building, you can install a lift. But in generally speaking, between 1,200 to 1,500. And then this is for a very medium average construction or rebuilding in case of what you were asking. But then if we are talking about Lisbon itself or Porto or Comporta, for example, is an area which is quite expensive because it's a bit secluded, but it's very trendy. So people have wanting to invest there. So it's rather between 1,500 to maybe 2,000 per square meter. Sometimes we have construction sites that are along these lines. So we have average construction costs more or less like this. But we also have, for example, a house that we are doing for a Swedish couple that they wanted really to invest in that house because they love the project, and so the construction cost is around 2,500. So it depends, but the average costs are more or less, from my experience, are more or less these.
David, do you have any more questions? Are there any more questions for Miguel?
Sure, I can ask another if that's okay. So our place, for example, in Setúbal that we currently have, it's a very narrow 3-story building, so probably less than 4 square meters wide.
Yeah.
And it has 2 entrances. So the main floor is it's under 35 square meters. Is there ever any consideration being able to make a space that's under 35 square meters? Because I think that's the threshold, at least in Setúbal, for making a place its own. Is that true, or can you get an
Yes,
exemption
there
on
are
that?
limits for each typology. This is also one of the, so we have a base of legislation that we use, and in that document we have a limit of areas for each type of typology. So for a T0, it's around 35 square meters. So it's a studio. So it's just a room, a living room with a bathroom and the kitchenette. So we do have limits of areas that we can make. So I would say that you could have like a studio if you wanted to do a unit. But when we have when we have an historical center and an existing building, the city hall also understands that the building is old, so we are adapting and converting an existing building. But I would say 35 is more or less the limit for a studio.
Okay. I mean, it is in the historic district. It's in Troinu, so we do have the VAT incentive as well. I think that it's 6% for that particular property.
It has to be registered in what's called the urban rehabilitation area, and you have to ask for a master. So you have to ask for a plan that showcases the building where it sits, so that it sits inside the urban rehabilitation area. And also a document that says it's a bit stupid actually, but it's a document from the city hall that says that the building is located in that area, and it grants you the right to have the reduced VAT, because some of our clients in the past, they only use the plan, and afterwards the finance department asked for that document saying, okay, we have the plan, but we need the document. So they had to go back to the city hall and ask with urgency for the written document. So maybe with the simplification, this will be over, but it's always good to have both. If you need any help with your building in particular, or with the other investment that you were saying, we would gladly help you. So Achille is the master specialist of real estate. I'm just an architect, but if you want, you can send me, for example, whatever you have on that property, and we can try and help you out.
I would appreciate it. That'd be great. Obrigado.
De nada.
Nada.
So we can do it in Portuguese now.
Yeah. Do you want to share your screen, Achille?
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So just a moment, please. Okay, you can share it now.
Okay, thank you. So, Rachel, you asked me to provide here today a trend on the. Can you see my screen?
Okay. Yes, I love your house.
It's not mine. Actually, it's in Cascais, this house.
Yeah.
So, for those who knows a bit about Portugal, so I am a real estate agent. I work with the brokerage Cordova Banker, but we are part of the same team, Réseau Expert Portugal, and we are here to help you. So from the start until the end. I know that David, you already know everything about that, but for those who, like Laura, for example, I don't know the other in the panel, if you don't know a bit about the process to buy a property in Portugal, so basically we help you with everything you need. So we have a legal team, we will help you with the tax number, the bank account, and also we are real estate agents. We will provide you with sort of properties that you need, and also explain to you each environment of Portugal, like in the south, the north, or in the center, based on your requirement. So this is what some people are saying about our job. Let's talk now about the trend, because we are here for that, right? But what I would like to say first is an overview of what happened during the year 2023. So the 2023 was kind of decreasing, as you can see here on the map. So all the data here has came from the INE, which is the statistic of Portugal. But for this year, 2024, the real estate market has been growing with increasing of the price. And this is due to the demand of international buyers, national buyers also. And also, what we can see is that we don't have a lot of stock of properties. So for those who are in our panel, who live in Portugal, and if you have some property for sale, this is the moment to do that, because we have so many people looking for properties to buy, and yeah, so go for it. So the trend about the real estate market, the increases of prices depend on location, type of properties, and also the type of buildings, type of area. I mean, there are so many indications to define the price of a property. But what we can see is that, like, for example, on the graph on your right, you have the number of homes sold in Portugal. And what you can see is like 2023 was quite high compared to the other years. And 2024, surprisingly, is going with the same trend. Even it's going with the same trend. And here I provide to you some numbers. I hope you like numbers, because I do. So, for example, we have prices of houses to buy in April 2024 compared to the previous month. We have several cities which increase, really. And the cities who surprise me the most is Porto Alegre here. For those who want to invest in Portugal and you have like a small budget to invest, I will definitely invite you to check here on this particular place to invest. But to see in overall, you have some places increase, good to invest, Coimbra, forget about Lisbon because it's still increasing, Ponta Delgada too, 1.8, Funchal, Via do Castelo, and Aveiro. They are great place to invest right now. Okay, Lisbon continue to be the most expensive to buy a property with 5.5 thousand euros per square meter. Porto is the next city with 3,000.5 euros per square meter, and Funchal 3,000. But you still have great place to invest, such as Guarda in the south, in the north of Portugal, and also Porto Alegre, as I mentioned before, Bragança. I love Bragança actually. It's a beautiful place to visit also in Portugal. And Santarém, where Miguel actually is investing with the new investors, right? So these are, I don't know if someone wants to take a picture of this. And if you want, I can send after, Rachel, I can send you this and we can send to our people who are attending the webinar today. And let me show you some opportunity that we have here. Actually, this is one building that we have actually for sale in Porto. So for those who are looking to invest in commercial and residential, this can be a great investment for you. So it's a beautiful building with 700 square meters. The project also was already approved for 10 apartments and 1 commercial shop here down below. So you can have the rehabilitation, and hopefully with the new government, you can still do your Airbnb business on this special property. So I try to give you here some numbers on the return on investment. And this particular property can give you up to 35% in the case of buying, rehabilitation, and selling back. So it can be a great option. And also, you can do the rental market, and for that, you will have 12% per year. These are the provision, right, for the rental market. And now let me show you some houses that I have here for you. So this house is a 4-bedroom property in the south of Portugal. It's still available on the market. It's 6,000 euros. And it's a lovely property. So for those who have families looking for an area, secure area with great green areas, entertainment nearby, family area, this is a great place to stay in Portugal. The property is brand new. It's really what people are looking for. So it's ready to move in property. and in the south of Portugal. Beautiful garden, 2 parking space in the house. It's 2 floors, so you have 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, and it has great areas. I would love to live there actually. So for those who are interested, I will be there next week. So if you want to have a private showing, or I don't know, if you have question about this property, please let me know after. And also I will finish with this one. So this one is an apartment that we have for sale at the moment in Lisbon. It's a 4 bedrooms apartment located in the center of Lisbon. So here you are only 15 minutes from the airport. You have 2 parking space, 1 storage. You have a beautiful living room, kitchen, open space. The building is secure. You have international schools also nearby. What else? The building is quite new. It's from 2020, so it has 4 years.
Achille, what is the cost of this house?
So this one is 1.5 at the moment on the market.
And the previous one, the one that all of us loved?
600,000. Yes.
Sorry?
600.
600,000. Okay.
Yes. You mean this one, right? The house.
The previous one, yes. Yes, in Marisol. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Laura, your question is regarding this house, right? Yes, I would assume it was about this one. Yes.
Yeah. So this one is 600,000. Yeah.
600,000 for such a villa is a good price, actually.
Yes, it is. But actually, I just choose like 1 or 2, 3 options, but we work with different options, different areas. So, I mean, I don't know if someone here needs something, I mean, land, building to refurbish or house to refurbish, we have everything. So we have a bunch of property, we can help you. We work with partners all over Portugal, and yeah, so go ahead. I will let the video, so if you have more questions, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this house is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, more question, please. I will stop the video. And we can start the question.
Laura, do you have any additional questions?
Yeah, so for a home that's not as upgraded, but within reason, and a reasonable distance to Lisbon or the more the places that are more populated, I would say, like what would that type of price point look
like? Where? Which location?
Just I would say in a close proximity to Lisbon, but not necessarily in Lisbon.
You mean in Lisbon or outside?
Outside.
Okay. So if you go like let's say 1 hour from the airport, you should think around, I mean for the same property, for the same size, you should think around 450.
Got you, but like not as updated for, let's just say, someone who
okay, if you need some updates, then we have to see. Like I went to Lourinhã last week for a same property, not too far from the beach. It was 550, and to not update it, it was 460. But it was 1 hour from Lisbon. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. But everything depends on the renovation that you have to do on the property. I mean the location, right? And also the yeah. Like you have some areas, like 2 hours from Lisbon. Sorry?
David, do you have any questions for Achille?
Yeah, I was going to ask, when you brought up the rental, so if you bought a property, like there's a property for like 230 here or around 230 needs total renovation.
Mm-hmm.
And in looking at how you would resize the rooms and whatnot in a remodel like that, would you think that trying to get them as like make studios, multiple studios would be a better route, or making like larger spaces in terms of income, like you see the 12.5% on a property? Do you tend to lean more towards people wanting a smaller space? I like smaller spaces, but that, I'm just curious what you see out there.
Okay, so basically at the moment we have a bunch of we have clients asking to rent 1 or 2 bedroom maximum. Studios are the best in the main, I mean, Lisbon, inside Lisbon, next to schools or next to the airport, studios. But if you go outside or not so far from the main city, I would say 2 bedrooms is the best. But we have a lot of demand. But coming to your project, I would say we have a folder, Excel folder, where we can give you the provision of what you can get as a yield or return on investment for rental, and see which option can be the best. So we can do that also with renovation cost and everything, taxes, yeah. Definitely. But if you have the project inside the city, I would say yes, go for it. 1 bedroom apartment is what we are looking for. And you can put the price. I mean, yesterday I went to visit an apartment. I was shocked by the asking price, and there was 7 people waiting to visit the apartment. Yes, I was shocked. Like, the demand is huge and we don't have stocks, so go for it. Definitely.
Ruben, do you have any questions for Miguel or for Achille? The microphone is on the left down.
I think they are not answering. But anyway, so here, if someone doesn't have the tax number, the bank account, I mean, the basic things, we have a legal department who can help with that. So don't worry. And also, depend on the budget that you have. The first thing I will say is to check your project. David, you already know, okay, you are an investor, but I'm talking about the other. If you really need to know what you are looking for to do in Portugal, because we have some clients who bought properties in Lisbon, and finally they found out, I mean, after 1 year, they found out they don't like the hustle and the bustle of the cities, you know, the noise. So now they are trying to sell the property and going out of the main city. So you really need to know first what are the main criteria of what you're looking for, and then yeah, you can move for it.